Okay, so today, brief and improvised, I'm experimenting with this format of late. Video on Michael Haneke's 2017 feature Happy End. I've enjoyed much of Michael Haneke's work. There are some exceptions, but overall, I find myself very intrigued by the films he's released. My favourite may still be 1989's The Seventh Continent. I'm very fond of that, Benny's Video, Code Unknown, as well as Cachet, I think is quite brilliant. And then we have Happy End here. So, what do I make of Happy End? Happy End does not engage in any of the excess gratuity which my least favourite Michael Haneke films engaged in, let's say. Although, what one. It's so typical of his form, and there's something vaguely bourgeois about its target audience. It's just so plain and obvious that Michael Haneke is trying to create some sort of archetypal, symbolic, metaphorical narrative exercise to demonstrate the dichotomy between the recent generations of Western Europe. A lot of the symbolism in this film is profoundly obvious. Whether that's a good or bad thing, I'm not sure. Whether one can consider this film to be overwhelmingly clever, that's debatable. You might even be able to tell just from these screen caps the kind of messaging that this film is engaging in. What narrative, where manifesting in the narrative are these representations, these metaphors for, wider European socio-political occurrences of the 21st century. Just cliche themes such as the disillusionment of the older generations, the business-like mundanity of Isabel Huppert's character's generation, and then the absolute nihilism of her, I believe we can say, Generation X son, and then the I guess the terrifying internet age downstream of Benny's Video, callous, desensitized, vague, I suppose, sadism of the 13-year-old character. Perhaps due to the improvisation, this is preventing me from coming up with more insights into this film than I would otherwise like to. Although maybe a part of me feels as though I am just in general at a loss to come up with insights, whether I'm trying to write them out in advance or otherwise, because I really was somewhat dreading coming into writing a bit about Happy End, just because I didn't know what I could share about the film. It's Michael Haneke knowing his reputation and attempting to compose a film which illustrates the contemporary in a manner which posh Western European and Western critics can adore, praise, and people who enjoy his films can claim that they understand what the film's going for and applaud it. Now, to be fair, are there any other creatively interesting filmmakers crafting films this audacious and bold in Western Europe? Not off the top of my head. I mean, you compare Haneke to someone like... has there been anything this interesting in Paolo Sorrentino's catalogue? I can imagine maybe there's something in Albert Serra's catalogue, where his work is particularly metaphorical and abstract, so it's harder for the average cinephile to digest, I suppose. Happy End is tailor-made for Michael Haneke fans, although I have at least one good friend who is not a Michael Haneke fan, generally speaking, and Happy End was... Happy End didn't encourage him to change his mind whatsoever. I'll just say that. But I was into Happy End. I think some of the direction is outstanding. So I particularly love that beautiful, the set at the end, overlooking the water, all the white furniture within the big dining hall. That's so beautifully manifest of that contemporary materialist denial. What's that? I once read this brief little essay. Maybe it was a dream, but it compared Europe to Icarus. That Icarus. It's tried everything. Now it's just fallen, and it's got nothing left, and it doesn't believe in anything anymore. And so it just has this sort of denial factor of nice food, nice scenery. What is it? There's nothing more to life really than just good food and wealth and celebrating good social success. One of the major plots of this film concerns the death of a worker on a construction site. An accident occurs, which the Isabel Huppert's character and her son are ultimately accountable for, because it's their company. And the way they talk about this, like it's this legal consequence and not this great ethical crime is I think that was very deliberate, very obvious, and very very communicative of the kind of place Haneke feels as though Europe is today, this desensitized monster, if you will. 10 years from now, we'll look at 2017's Happy End and see how well it truly is indicative of Western Europe in the 2010s, or later 2010s, let's say. For now, it's an interesting document. It's an interesting artifact. This is one currently iconic European auteur's artistic vision of what he feels Europe is at this point in time. That's just a fascinating prospect in and of itself, and coupled with the just a gorgeous technical proficiency with which this narrative is expressed. I mean, for me, I can't go wrong with this film, although it's not Haneke's masterpiece, and I found it... I'm not going to use the word obvious again. I'm going to playfully, cheekily find a synonym. Transparent. Happy End is transparent. As is the effort put into this video, but hey. If you're interested, check out Michael Haneke's Happy End. I found it terrific, although if you're not a Michael Haneke fan and you think, oh, maybe I'll give Happy End a go and see if it changes my mind, I doubt it will. Nevertheless, have a great day, night, wherever you are.